Hey there, and welcome to The Explainer. I am so excited you're joining us today because we are talking about transforming your living spaces literally from the ground up. We've dug into some really comprehensive data and incredible inventory insights straight from Sydney Rugs Online, all to bring you the ultimate buyer's guide to a home decor category that is seeing a massive, and I mean massive resurgence. Yep, we're talking about Shaggy rugs. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, I've got to ask you something. Have you ever actually wanted to know what it feels like to walk on a cloud? Seriously, just imagine waking up on a freezing winter morning, stepping out of bed, and instead of your foot slapping against a cold hardwood floor, it sinks into this deeply cushioned, incredibly soft, warm surface. That exact sensory experience, that instant hit of tactile comfort, that's exactly what we're going to unpack today. Okay, let's dive right into this. First up, we'll look at the magic of shag. Then, we'll run through a room application guide. After that, we're demystifying care and maintenance. And finally, we'll explore styles and materials to help you find your perfect match.
All right, kicking things off with section 1, the magic of shag, and really understanding that plush appeal.
So, what actually makes a shag rug a shag rug? Well, it all hinges on the pile. You know, a standard flat weave rug is exactly what it sounds like, flat. But a shaggy rug, it's completely defined by its deep pile construction. These are statement pieces packed with long, fluffy fibers that create this loose, luxurious, and highly textured surface. They're really not just floor coverings, they're an entire textural experience. And you know, those long fibers aren't just there to look pretty. Functionally speaking, these rugs are brilliant interior design solutions. Yes, obviously, they deliver exceptional underfoot luxury and warmth, and they add some really distinct depth and character to what might otherwise be a totally flat room. But what I absolutely love is how effortlessly they blend into modern homes, especially when you go for muted shades like charcoal or cream. Oh, and here's a totally underrated benefit. All those thick fibers act like a giant acoustic dampener. They are absolutely fantastic for absorbing sound in large, echoey rooms. Okay, 55. When you're filtering through the inventory over at Sydney Rugs Online, 55 represents the maximum pile height in millimeters. Let's put that into perspective for a second. That is over 2 inches of pure, fluffy thickness. It is insanely luxurious. Though, fair warning, you might actually lose a TV remote in there from time to time. Moving right along to section 2, the room application guide. Let's figure out where to actually place your shag. This comprehensive application table is basically your ultimate cheat sheet. You'll notice how the placement strategy completely shifts depending on what the room is actually used for. Take the living room, for example. You want it centered beneath the coffee table or maybe just under the front legs of the sofa to really anchor the seating area. Now, in a reading nook, tucking a smaller, round shag right under your lounge chair and side table instantly creates this incredibly inviting, secluded little vibe. And what about a home theater? You actually span the open floor space between the screen and the seating. That maximizes that acoustic absorption we were just talking about, while also giving you a super comfy spot for extra floor seating. But let's jump back to the bedroom for a second, because the source material really hits the nail on the head here. They call it, quote, a plush warm landing pad for bare feet on chilly mornings. So the crucial takeaway here is that placement is everything. You want the rug layered underneath the lower 2/3 of the bed, kind of extending outward, or set up as individual runners right on the sides. You want to absolutely guarantee your feet hit that glorious rug the very second you stand up. And we definitely can't talk about applications without mentioning the nursery or the playroom. If you've got kids or pets running around, a thick shag rug is a literal game changer. It gives you a deeply cushioned surface that is so gentle on crawling knees and just perfect for active playtimes. And yes, for sure, from a practical standpoint, there are non-slip options available. You can totally use rug pads to make sure that plush surface stays exactly where you put it, even during all that crazy playtime chaos. Let's move to and see how this builds in section 3, demystifying care and maintenance. Spoiler alert, it's way easier than you think. I really want to highlight this quote straight from the source material. Surprisingly easy to maintain. Now, I know what you're thinking. Looking at a 55mm pile might instantly make you think, okay, that's a giant dirt trap. But the reality of modern rug construction means that keeping these things clean is actually quite straightforward. So here is your actionable step-by-step maintenance routine. Step 1 is definitely the most critical. Vacuum regularly to lift surface dust, but, and this is a big but, you must use a suction-only vacuum. Make sure to turn off the beater bar or any rotating brushes, because those will just tug and damage those gorgeous long fibers. Okay, step 2, accidents happen, right?
When there's a spill, immediately flood the area with water and just blot it dry. Never, ever rub a stain into a shag rug or you're going to mat the fibers permanently. And step 3, simply call on a professional cleaning service every few months to give that deep pile a proper refresh. Honestly, it's really that simple. Oh, and here's a quick pro tip to alleviate another really common worry: fiber loss. Listen, initial shedding is completely natural. When you unroll a brand new shag rug, it's going to shed a bit. Don't panic. Choosing modern rugs with tight weaves definitely helps. And honestly, with just a bit of patience and regular, gentle vacuuming, that shedding will drastically lessen after the first few weeks. All right, bringing us to section 4, exploring styles and materials. Let's find your perfect match. When you're out there shopping, you basically have 2 primary material paths to choose from. On one hand, we've got synthetic fibers, things like polypropylene and polyester. These are your modern workhorses. They offer extreme resilience, high fade resistance, and this incredible cloud-like softness. Now, on the other hand, we have natural fibers, like wool. This is the more traditional route, and it gives you a really classic, highly tactile finish. They're both fantastic options. It really just boils down to your household-specific lifestyle. For example, let's take a look at the Scandinavian lifestyle category. The Shaggy, Flow, and Wave collections use these premium microfiber and microset polypropylene blends to basically give you the best of both worlds: tactile luxury combined with practical resilience. And because they're available in these beautifully understated colors like light gray, natural, and cream, these rugs instantly inject a room with a modern, clean sophistication without, screaming for attention. 3.5. So that number is the 3.5 centimeter pile height of the hugely popular Clarity washable line. It perfectly anchors the physical thickness of a collection that solves a really massive problem for busy households. Because as the Clarity washable range proves, you really don't have to sacrifice softness for practicality. You still get that gorgeous cloud-like 3.5 centimeter pile, but the entire rug is literally machine washable. It comes in some really striking colors like rose pink and silver. And let me tell you, this is an absolute game changer for homes with pets, toddlers, or just a lot of heavy foot traffic. And honestly, the sheer variety available today goes so far beyond just your basic solid color shag. Just look at this rapid-fire catalog of styles. You've got plush faux fur made of 100% polyester that features these really elegant diamond patterns. Then there's the touchy Decor and abstract lines. They actually mix high and low piles together to create this visually captivating multidimensional texture. Or maybe check out the Lila collection, which offers this beautiful monochromatic homogeny and rich latte and crisp snow white. Oh, or you can opt for the ombre rugs, offering a shorter shaggy pile with a really stunning graduation of color. The design possibilities here are virtually endless. So now that we've seen the incredible variety of materials, the surprisingly easy care steps, and the amazing functional benefits, I've got to ask, which room in your house is begging for a touch of underfoot luxury? Whether it's anchoring your living room, warming up your bedroom, or creating a safe little haven in the nursery, there is definitely a perfect shaggy rug waiting to totally transform your space. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and have an absolute blast upgrading your home.